welcome in. This is the Cow Guy Close, and I am Scott Schulte, also known as the Cow Guy, as you can see. And after 3 years, it's time to pay the piper. And if you get down to the nitty-gritty, this has all the hallmarks of affecting 37 million people, which was affected more than our hot inflation did, right? I'm talking about student loan moratorium that's about to expire. And this could really hurt. Now, listen, from December 2021 to December 2022, inflation was responsible for taking roughly 1% of household income out. I mean, that seems low to me, but still, that's the number. And the return of low payments is projected to take, get a load of this, 4 to 5% of that household income out. Borrowers' pockets are going to get bare. There are a number of estimates as to how much this could be to the economy on a monthly basis, and some are as high as $15 billion a month that needs to be paid back. And for all of you inflation hawks, this move is actually disinflationary, just as paying people something to do nothing is inflationary. Taking from people for something that used to be free is the opposite, right? My next guest knows a thing or two about inflation, and he has some fantastic thoughts on this. Please welcome to the show, Keith Fitz-Gerald. Thank you very much for coming on, Keith. This is an interesting one. I mean, there's been a lot talked about it, whether or not it's actually moral or ethical to forgive them or not. But regardless, we've got some borrowers coming down the line here that are going to have to start paying things back. Could this be at a bad time for the economy?
You know, that's an interesting question because clearly, personally, I think tough. They sign on the dotted line. They borrowed the money. They should pay it back rather than continuing to, exist at the largesse of the American taxpayers. Now, professionally speaking, I got to look at that as an investment strategist. Yeah, I think there's going to be an impact. But the question really is this, Scott, does it break down? Is it going to break down in terms of real hardcore spending that drives the economy, or is it going to break down discretionary income? And I don't think we can the jury's still out, for lack of a better term, on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you. But if Ashley and I have done this story once before, and that's where I got that $15 billion. It was actually a little higher. But $15 billion isn't really something to laugh at. I mean, on a monthly basis, that could be kind of difficult. Now, I know that everybody thinks the economy is hunky-dory. I don't think so. I think I'm very lonely on my recession island. But I know that with some of these bankruptcies and what's been happening with the economy, and then you add in the fact that we got to take this money out on a monthly basis, which could be $15 billion. Who knows how much exactly. But that's not going to be good, right? I mean, we're going to want to have that money in there. And that's why I'm just a little concerned. I mean, there's too many things that are flashing yellow to me from my 36 years in the business that says I can't jump on board this train that easily. I know there's investment opportunities, don't get me wrong, but to say that everything's hunky-dory, I can't do that.
I agree with you 100%. And what's really interesting to me, Scott, and you sort of hit the nail on the head here, is the rules of money have changed. This isn't the world we used to live in, which means all of the obligations going forward won't be what we once thought they were, if that makes sense. So this concept of student loans is not just about the moral, ethical obligations they have to pay it back, not even the legal or financial obligations. It's about how do we assess value going forward in society. Is it the education that matters and theoretically have a brighter workforce, or is it the repayment that matters that gets money back into the taxpayers, or is it all of the economic influence that has to go through the mom and pop businesses that are really going to take the brunt of this?
Yes, and here's another thing that I finally heard somebody else say, because I think that we were on our own on this one, but when you want to spend $5 or $6 trillion in such a short period of time, lock everybody up and send them home, the damage or the reshifting or resetting of your markets and your economy, no one knows what it's going to be doing to things, right? I finally heard somebody say it on another show last night. But you have to look at some of our economic models and think to yourself, Keith, maybe we should rework some of these things because it's just not adding up to the way it used to be. You can't take, say, 2021 or 2020 and compare it to 2015. It's two different planets.
It is. And, I caught a lot of guff, as you remember, from many angles when I said the models are broken and the Fed is off the reservation somewhere. It's off the map. It's an insult to people who are actually clueless because their models are so badly broken. I think that many aspects of the systems are broken. So to me, this is a challenge that not only is going to be with us for a while, but it's one we're going to have to literally figure our way through as we go. And that's not going to be easy.
Yeah, so you've got all these borrowers out there. They're going to have to repay this thing. You've got a consumer that I don't know where they're getting this money from. I mean, my latest discovery is that 37% of Americans that have a 401k are dipping into it for a hardship loan. We're going to cover that in the next segment. But that's probably where some of it's coming from. We had some, I think 80% of the mortgages were refinanced over the last 5 years at a lot lower levels. There's some money there. But I still say the consumer's on fumes. And, you know, the jobs numbers and consumers, they go hand in hand. I want to hear what you have to say about that.
I tell you what, I'm chomping at the bit on this one, because I tell you, my 2 cents on this is the real culprit here is twofold. One, credit card companies can print phantom currency at will by nothing more than the faith and transparency of their company and for the borrowers. So, you know, we've sent out how many billions of credit card offers over the past few years, despite all this. And second, it's too easy to discharge bankruptcy in this country, so you can wipe debt clean. There's no incentive legally or even morally or ethically at this point, I would submit, to live within your means. So the system has made it too easy to escape the obligations that you would otherwise need. That, to me, is a problem.
That is, and I don't know where that changed. I really don't, because
I don't either.
People say that, oh, you know, you used to be have one person working and everybody and the other parents stay home with the kids. You can't do that anymore. I'm like, yeah, but that was back when we only expected to have one car and one TV, and everybody, you know, I had a room. My brother and sister and I all had brothers and sisters in rooms with us, right? Everything's changed. Now everybody gets their own bedroom, their own McMansion. I don't know. Somewhere along the line, things got out of whack. But anyway, I could go on for that for a long time, but that's another show. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.